Good morning. I'm Larry Hawley, and I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and this is my second go-round in that capacity. I'm supposed to self-describe myself, so I may be reaching a little, but I'm going to say I'm over here as king of social events. And I'm planning kind of my fourth picnic, and I've been known to do wine tastings and have the band play at my house. But I want to request all of your help to get me to this justice. And we need to all work together to move it a little left. I don't think we have justice and equality yet. And things may be going that way. And so I'm very happy and engaged and love doing the social. But we as a church, as a congregation, are about the two together and the justice. And I really ask you today at the picnic to talk to me about it and help get us to learn how to push left and do it in unison and do it in big group. So today, we are delighted to see everyone in person, and we say hello to all those watching online. I want to draw your attention to a few announcements. Enter a joy or concern using the QR code and your phone included in the order of service. You can also write them old school style on the green sheets and give it to an usher. Or you can email Reverend Denise directly and do that immediately because this is her last day to receive emails. If you are newer here, please send us an email and tell us a bit about yourself. We would love to hear what you are seeking. Please either fill out the green form and or email us at visitor@uucw.org. Again, that's visitor@uucw.org. We would love to connect with you. To go with that socializing, the announcement today is it's our all-church picnic, and join us for a fond farewell to Reverend Denise, who is moving on to take another congregation through their interim ministry, as we are beginning to journey into our interim ministry. So the picnic's right after the service, and everyone should attend, whether you're members or guests. Everyone's welcome. Brats and hot dogs will be served. There's some games available for children or youthful people. And we have a lot of potluck from everyone who was going to attend. We need this social event. It's been a long time since we had some of these, and since I've had bigger parties at my house. I look forward to getting back to that. And Reverend Denise deserves a giant big hug. Later today, after the picnic, UUC member Dennis Wanless will be memorialized. He passed away June 18th, 2022. I didn't know him well, but I knew he was very active here. And I know he worked with youth mentoring and the meditation group and was in charge of lay pastoral care. So he meant to help all of us in the best capacity he could. So a celebration of his life will be held today from 1 to 4 at Steinway Piano Gallery. And at 2 p.m., a few words in celebration of Dennis's life will be shared. Thank you.
I'm Reverend Denise Cawley, and today is my last day being your minister. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm prone to get very overheated, so I was going to tell Vicki to turn up the air today. You can see I forgot. I'm really glad I get to do my last service with my buddy Larry. He's been a great partner in ministry, as have so many of you. And today, we welcome all of you. Underdogs of the world have a special welcome today. If you have ever felt different, if you have felt like you are the only one in the room, if you felt like you needed to burst out in song, if you thought of yourself as a character in a play, if you felt like your brain just works differently than other people's, well, then you are in the right place today. You are all so welcome here. You are welcome if you felt alone. Perhaps you felt like you were the only granola crunchy, green-loving, glitter-wearing, everything in life has a song, or the best nights of your life have a ticket kind of person. Today's your day. Welcome.
Whoever you are, from wherever you come, and however you enjoy musical theater, you are welcome here. And my daughter's here. She was in a lot of musical theater, so I'm very pleased with that. The identities, whomever you love, however you define family, even if it's all chosen family, you are welcome. The identities you hold, how you want to be called, and your pronouns are respected and welcomed here. Whatever the color of your skin, the language your grandparents spoke, the cultures that move in your being, the abilities and disabilities you hold, we welcome you. Whatever you believe, whatever your theology is, prayer or sacrament, even if none at all, we welcome you. We unite in Unitarian Universalist principles. We are community of communities, spiritual seekers taking action called on by our faith to work for justice, united in covenant and in the spirit of love. We welcome you all.
Today, in the spirit of musical theater, I'll have 2 Stoll costume changes. Maybe more, you never know, but this one was in my office today as a gift from my fellowship team that so diligently has ushered me through so many hard things and has done so many surveys and interviews with all of you to fill out all of the paperwork for the Ministerial Fellowship Committee. So thank you to my fellowship team. I'll introduce the next one when I wear it. Today, we explore the underdogs who rise above in musicals. When I was 6 years old, my mom, wave. When I was 6 years old, my mom took me to see Annie at Detroit's beautiful Fisher Theater. It was the first touring company with the original cast just off the Broadway run. I was mesmerized. I wasn't an orphan, but I certainly felt resonance with the little girl who was lonely, getting to go live this fairy tale life. The costumes and the lights made all the colors more saturated. The arc of the show took me on a journey where time stopped, and I was in the story with them. That moment changed my life, and I have been a fan of Broadway theater for decades, sometimes even seeing 5 Broadway shows in a weekend. Now, even if you're not a fan, there is a message, even if you hate musicals, and I know some of you might, thanks for coming anyway. Even if you're not a fan, there is a message in how Broadway shows, specifically ones about the underdogs, resonate for us as Unitarian Universalists. They ask us to live examined lives, to love ourselves, to do our best to stop hate and overcome the odds. Any good faith does that, but now putting all that into a theater show, that's a fun way to hear the message and make meaning of our own lives. Broadway shows must appeal to large swaths of people in order to bring in the audiences that make the shows possible and profitable. Live singing and dancing with original scores night after night is not cheap. Broadway musicals draw from relatable experiences. So even if you hear about some musicals today and think, well, I wasn't that, think about the essence of what we're getting to. So as we explore musicals, we're underdogs. Look at racism and homophobia and bullying and single parenting or abuse, transphobia, and triumph. triumph even when someone holds power over you or the odds are stacked against you. In looking at ways to describe the first musical we explore, I found a sermon from Reverend Mark Ward. He was a congregant here who heard his call and became a well-respected UU minister. And his memorial was just on Friday. He died very suddenly a few weeks ago. And in his sermon about fear in 2016, Reverend Mark said, "There is probably no better example of this fear than all the forms of prejudice, race, ethnicity, gender expression that float through our culture. I think of that song, You've Got to Be Taught," he said, from the musical South Pacific. Now, this is a really fun fact that, you go to the next barbecue, you'll sound smart. Unitarian, I practice saying this word. Lyricist Oscar Hammerstein suspected that his song was written in 1949 on the source of racial prejudice. He thought it would be controversial, and he was right. In fact, Rodgers and Hammerstein refused to perform the musical if they did not put the song in. That was a requirement. And it was about interracial marriage at the time. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. Now, me speaking here, it's wonderfully ironic that one of the most famous Broadway lyricist, dramatist, Oscar Hammerstein, was a Universalist. He attended Fourth Universalist Society in New York City. There's the rumor that he was part of the Jewish elite society of theater in New York. But we find that over and over throughout his life, he was a member of both Universalist and Unitarian churches. It wasn't combined at that point. The song, You've Got to Be Carefully Taught, was controversial because it was supportive of interracial marriage. And they said, you can't do the show if you don't put it in. And so when the show was touring in Atlanta, Georgia, it offended some Georgian lawmakers, not much has changed, who proposed a bill to outlaw any entertainment that they deemed to be inspired by Moscow. And we can trace these Unitarian and Universalist influences in Hammerstein's lyrics and libretti, showing his response to the fundamental questions we have as human beings, seeking meaning and to build identity. And that, my friends, is just what today is about. How do we explore all the big questions? Because it's so important to keep asking questions. How do we explore those big questions about ourselves and build our identity and build this community? How do we look at the underdogs of the world as gifts in the disruption that they bring? The question they ask and the path they forge move us all forward. In Reverend Mark's sermon, he says, because Hammerstein was pointing to one of the most intensely felt, fear-based fabrications that we all live with, racism, the song says, is not grounded in anything real. It is merely the accumulation of slights and hurts that we experience, together with misapprehensions and lies that we are told about other people. I am tempted, he says, though, to tweak Hammerstein's lyrics just a little and argue that we are taught by our communities and loved ones not so much to fear as through fear. We are taught through fear. Often fears that drive our prejudice are not grounded so much in our experience as in the experience of those who surround us. We take on the fears, in a sense, in their water of our upbringing. We're drinking it all the time. We swim in it. We experience their fears and we adopt them without even knowing it. We fit them into our worldview and justify them to ourselves. I don't believe it's a conscious process, Reverend Mark says, but it's very powerful all the same. Today we explore what motivated these admirable underdogs to overcome fear. In many ways, these characteristics represent the best of what Unitarian Universalism can be if we follow their direction. And I will now ask my friend Larry to light our chalice with that song in mind.
This is the point in our service where we unite in the sparkle of the cup of love and the dance of the flame. Please read along with me, whether here or at home. If you are joining us at home and afar, feel free to kindle your chalice or candle. We are going to read the lyrics from You've Got to Be Taught from the musical South Pacific. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught.
You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8. To hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught.
Good morning. I'm Pat Ryerson, and my pronouns are she and her. Our church's Split the Plate program is one of outreach and of generosity. Every month, we give half of our undesignated offerings to a new nonprofit organization to help us live out our Unitarian Universalist values and serve our greater community. The Split the Plate partner for now through the end of August is Repairs of the Breach in Milwaukee. Repairs of the Breach is a grassroots organization program for persons who are homeless. It is Greater Milwaukee's only resource center and daytime refuge for homeless adults, and it is open 6 days a week. Its mission is to combat homelessness by providing life-saving, life-sustaining, and life-restoring programs. Let's watch a video now, and it will describe to us the importance of just one of its many programs.
Cold. It's like Alaska melting and floating here. It's really cold.
It's horrible being outside cold. with nowhere to go. And if it was warm, it'd probably be a little different, but it's still scary. Either warm, cold spring, it don't make a difference. It's scary out here. Being a woman, it's really is. It was very warm too. And they're nice people. They feed you and stuff and give you warm covers, coffee, cereal, snacks, food, stuff like that. So I can't complain about nothing.
Safety, people that's scared to be outside or worried where they gonna eat or put on or where they gonna get a shower. Repairs represent all of that, safety and, comfort. Because, you got people out here that's worried about a lot of stuff. And when you come here, you got all these services and kind of, ease their mind a little bit.
It means a lot because without them, you won't be able to eat. They give you clothes, toothpaste, toothbrush, towels, soap, fragrance and stuff so you can smell good. So that means a lot to me. So you won't be dirty, wash your clothes. That's another important thing. So if you have a job interview or something, at least your clothes will be clean, Thank you for all the services and the time that you feed us, serve us, ask us anything that we want, they give it to us, clean clothes and stuff. So I would tell them thank you for putting up with us every day.
Y'all an inspiration, y'all making God proud by helping us. Is what y'all doing. Y'all really don't gotta do it, but y'all take y'all time and energy to help people in this situation. And it's, like I said, it's an inspiration, a blessing to people that want to do what y'all doing.
If you're participating from home, please go to our website, go to the Donate tab, and select, of course, Split the Plate from the menu provided. Or if you want to, you can text or you can email your donation today using the information found here. I thank you for your generosity this Sunday and every Sunday, your generosity today for repairs of the breach. We will now graciously accept the offering.
Broadway shows have a way of helping each person in the audience find something they can relate to. The musical Fun Home, one of my favorites, looks at how what is seemingly innocuous is actually far more complex. The remarkable graphic novel, have any of you read it? Handful of folks. The remarkable graphic novel turned into a musical has a mom who seems really withdrawn from reality, and a gay father who is hiding who he is by overfunctioning in his 2 jobs and remodeling and decorating the house to look like a museum. The daughter, who is real-life Alison Bechdel, keeps trying to make sense of it all. Fun Home has a signature tune, Ring of Keys, and it's a sweet ode sung by a baby butch lesbian 10-year-old girl, sung to a butch lesbian by a 10-year-old girl who also turns out to be a butch lesbian, on the brink of giving a name to her deepest knowing about herself. And it's important to keep in mind she lives in a home that is entirely based on making things look pretty and wowing people with the look of the antiques and the home improvements and the restoration, but most especially by the way the family is idealized with 1 daughter and 2 sons and a happy married dad and mom. Coming out as a lesbian is unspeakable because it mars that idealized picture of a family. It would destroy the family perfection because her father, who's also closeted, is interested in advertising his version of perfection to the entire community. It's not a life grounded in love, but instead in a fairy tale. In every underdog story, there is a moment that is a game changer. The moment where putting up with the status quo is not going to work any longer. Have you ever had a moment like that? A moment where you decided to change something, maybe it was your faith, maybe to join a UU church, maybe to change careers or go to school. Maybe it was doing something that was unlike your family. And this song is that turning point where Allison figures out something huge about her identity when she sees the UPS woman. She longs for everyone in her life to figure out who they are and wishes everyone would talk about it. Why isn't anybody talking about what's happening here? In real life, Alison Bechdel speaks in interviews about her unending time in therapy. She's even sometimes tried having more than one therapist at once, for different things. She appreciates learning how complicated people are. Not good or bad, but instead incredibly nuanced. People come to points in their lives where there is a relentless, merciless impulse to do things differently. It's a calling to something else. It's so strong, if you deny it, everything else in life kind of starts to break. And sometimes that calling is to name what has been unspeakable. When have you had a moment like this? It's okay to jot it down on your order of service. Some of you have told us about when you decided to make dismantling racism your spiritual practice. You have decided to undo what Hammerstein described as you have to be carefully taught and carefully teach yourself something else. For some, it is about identity. For some, it is about coming about their sexuality or leaving a marriage or being pro-choice, or loving someone whose race or culture is unlike yours. For others, it is giving a name to gaslighting or abuse. Whatever it is that needs to be named or changed or shed light upon, these moments are invitations for harnessing that passion. And Ring of Keys reminds us of the power in recognizing that very moment.
Someone just came in the door, like no one I ever saw before. I feel I don't know where you came from. I wish I did. I feel so dumb. I feel your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. Oh, your ring of keys. I thought it was supposed to be wrong, but you seem okay with being strong. I want to. You're so. I probably conceded to say, but I think we're alike in a certain way. Your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. Oh, your ring of keys. Do you feel my heart saying I? In this whole luncheonette, why am I the only one who sees you're beautiful? No, I mean handsome. Your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. Oh, your ring of keys. I know you. I know you. I know you.
This is the best. Underdogs call us to be our very best selves. In the musical Waitress, Jenna, the main star of the show, and that's a Sarah Bareilles written score, is an expert pie maker. I wonder who that relates to. She's stuck in a small town and a loveless marriage, and when a baking contest in a nearby county offers her a chance at escape, Jenna must weigh her commitments against a rare shot at freedom and recognition. Her customers, her co-workers, and the town's handsome new doctor all offer her conflicting recipes for happiness. but Jenna must ultimately decide for herself to be herself. She has heavy responsibilities and choices weighing on her. And like many of us, she realizes the storybook dreams that she had as a child to grow up and have a fairy tale life are not in the cards for her. We hear her saying, "Most days I don't recognize me." During the show, she wonders how she got here, like we are urged to do in our faith. Underdogs call us to examine ourselves, to look at who we are and weigh all those complexities. In living an examined life, we learn new things about ourselves, and we really look at who we are. In that path of taking ourselves apart and wondering how we got to be how we are, we learn to love ourselves more and the world more. And Jenna sings, "She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken, and she won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie." Sure sounds like love. This stole is by the expert stole makers of the Vandeloo sisters, who are over there. And it's even two-sided. I'll wear the other side later. You've heard me say over and over, we are not meant to do this work alone. It means relying on your friends here in this congregation, taking advantage of the pastoral care listeners, which, by the way, between me and Reverend Julie, your pastoral care requests will go right to Mary Weirman and Mark Steinberg. I saw Mark. I don't know if Mary's here. Oh, there's Mark. Yeah. They're going to be the co-chairs of the Pastoral Care Committee filling in for Dennis. So you've heard me say over and over, we can't do this work alone. And that means taking advantage of pastoral care listeners and attending classes and starting groups. You know, Adrienne Marie Brown says, whenever you ask yourself, I wonder who should do something about that? Someone should do something about that. She says the answer is always you. You are the answer. It's your job to build the world together, to make yourself the best you can be, and to make this church the best church it could be. It's you who's in charge of making our communities and our neighborhoods and your schools align with your values. Who's going to do it if not Unitarian Universalists? And the message of this musical, Waitress, says you have to keep at it. You might get a different picture than what you imagined growing up, but it can still be a beautiful picture. Being your best self is worth working hard to become the best that your gifts and circumstances can create.
It's not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me. These shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She isn't perfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. And it's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through a back door and carves out a person and makes you believe it's all true. And now I've got you, and you're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two. For the girl that I knew who'd be reckless just enough, who'd get hurt, but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised and gets used by a man who can't love. And then she'll get stuck and be scared of the life that's inside her, growing stronger each day till it finally reminds her to fight just a little, to bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone, but it used to be mine. Used to be mine. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine.
Underdogs remind us that who we are is exactly who we're supposed to be, that truest, best, highest self. In the musical, everybody's talking about Jamie, which if you haven't heard about it, you can watch it. It's a film, and right now you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Maybe more places, but that's where I saw it. In Jamie, we meet a boy who is grappling with his divorced parents and an absent father. And then we learn that the absent father wants a life that has nothing to do with his son, who he perceives to be queer. And this young person is, with a pretty positive attitude, still exploring relationships and self-esteem, trying to figure out how to build a supportive environment even if everybody's against him. The bullying is incessant in the film. And to be his true self and express himself, he feels called to wear a dress and maybe be a drag queen just for fun. This causes him to be bullied, in every corner of his world. And yet he still does things with fabulousness. Jamie is labeled throughout his school life. In fact, one of the opening lines, he's called gay, and his best friend is also bullied. Her name is Pretty, and she is also labeled because of her ethnicity and her faith. Pretty is learning to see all of her differences as her own superpower rather than deficiencies. And there's a cast of characters trying to prevent Jamie from disrupting their normal. The teacher who wants him to conform in how he behaves and dresses. She threatens that he cannot attend prom otherwise. Jamie's dad who wants his son to be a heteronormative boy or just to not exist. He also pushes him to be his version of normal. Everyone wants Jamie to be their version of normal. It's only his mom, really, who's open to who he is. She just wants her son to be happy and safe and to thrive. When you look back at your aspirations and your hopes and your ambitions, did people try to stop you from being your truest self? Did they just put you down for what you now know is your superpower? Or get you to make the community, did they try to make your community conform to their ideal picture? Tell you that the community can't be this or that? Did they check boxes, I want a diverse community, but only if you're like us? What would you tell your younger self now, even if your younger self was like 2 months ago? What would you tell them to stop doing and start doing? What is it time to do that's right for you to be your truest best self? I know I get sometimes very, very discouraged and depressed, and I want to quit it all. I wonder why being me has to be so hard. Do you ever feel that way? Do you wonder why others are so cruel, or why evil is so prevalent, or why people prevent you from being what could benefit them? Jamie offers us a chance to identify barriers and obstacles to achieving that self-actualization, to fulfilling your call. He also ends up interjecting his more beautiful and kind and fabulous view of the world, and he infuses it into the whole community, changing them all for the better. He does just that, but it's not sort of like a moment where he just says, I'm going to do it. He goes and gets training from an elder in the community who mentors him in the world of drag performance, as well as being himself. He stops letting others' discouragement keep him from doing what his soul is crying out to do. Jamie keeps his plan for disrupting the prom. And I want to be clear, he is not doing it to hurt anyone else or make them uncomfortable. He's doing it because he wants to see everyone be accepted and loved and have fun together. He's building alliances and skills and courage. As in real life, characters have an objective they are trying to achieve in musical theater. And various barriers or obstacles get in the way of that objective, but nonetheless, the character that you are aiming for has something specific they're going towards. This objective or action might be you playing your own life in a musical, even if it's just in your head. Your objective should start with a verb, because I know some of you write on your orders of service or in your phone notes. What is your objective? It should start with an action verb. What do you want to change or disrupt? Underdogs have a special way of encouraging us to be our best selves. It's magic. They take us to a place of magic becoming real. Remember, you are beautiful. Beautiful. Being who you are is precious. Don't simply give yourself away by following the pack. If you do that, knowing you are being exactly who we are as you should be, that is something that is always yours to keep, being yourself.
It means something that's only yours to give. It means choosing the way you want to live. It means wonderful, and it means powerful, and it means true. It means something as perfect as it's pure. It means waiting until you know you're sure. And it means beautiful, and it's beautiful like you. Beautiful, beautiful. A little bit of glitter in the gray. Beautiful, beautiful. Something precious you don't simply give away. It means something that's always yours to keep. It's the face you don't take off to go to sleep. It means simple, and it means magical, like a kiss. It's a path that you choose to walk upon, not some feeling that you find one day is gone. It means innocence, and it means confidence like this. Beautiful, beautiful. A little bit of glitter in the gray. Beautiful, beautiful. Something precious you don't rush to give away. Beautiful, beautiful. A little bit of glitter in the gray. Beautiful, beautiful. Something precious you don't rush to give away. Beautiful.
Defying Gravity is the finale of the famous musical Wicked's first act. And in many ways, Underdogs do exactly that. They defy gravity. They ask us to do what we know deep inside we can do, but we are so afraid to do. It seems impossible, and then you make a plan. And the plan always has some practical steps, but one of the biggest obstacles in the world is changing your own mind. Underdogs always go through some transformation, and they often transform their actions by trying something out. You know, Jamie tries out performing, and Jenna bakes new pies and enters a contest. And they, like you, perhaps often have to get out of their own way, and then they can open themselves up to a miracle. Get out of your own way and try. When Elphaba realizes she was undermined, she now must get out of her own head and live to tell her own story. And up until this point in the musical, Elphaba has seen the Wizard of Oz as a heroic figure who can give her life some noble direction. It's almost like when you find out your parents or other humans, other heroes are human. It's both a disappointment and a gift, right? They're human. Once you realize everybody is complex, and you stop putting people into boxes of good or bad or evil, then you can discover that the mythical wizard is not all that he seems. In this case, the wizard's regime is in fact waging a propaganda campaign against the animals of Oz. Think how long ago that was written. A propaganda campaign against the animals of Oz who have been oppressed to such a degree that they lose their powers of speech, or worse, never learn to speak at all. How many times have you been somewhere where you say, nobody said anything? I can't believe nobody said anything. What wizard are you listening to? What wizard is telling you you can't speak true? Was it your parents? Was it their parents? Was it a teacher? Was it a community? It's time to tell your story. And if you tell it with love and faith, if you tell it with I statements, I always tell you, it'll go better. Our faith asks us to see people as complex rather than vilifying or worshiping. We are asked not to just come up with one idealized good God or bad devil, but instead to see life as far more multifaceted. Our approaches in churches should not just be from one perspective, but many. And we should use that to form a data sheet that says, what's all on the data sheet? What's everybody saying? Not what's the most saying, but let's use that multifaceted approach. Part of embracing our own diversity is cultivating communities where many people can be their fullest, kindest, affirming selves. And to do that, our underdogs encourage us to look at the really hard questions, because this work isn't easy. You have to get uncomfortable, really uncomfortable, and then not quit. These underdogs, they cheer us on to be our best selves and create our own stories. And they don't do this by encouraging solitary individualism, but instead by bringing communities together. And every good musical ends with the whole cast singing in a wondrous grand finale. And we all clap, and it's great, and the person is not just transformed, but the entire theater is lifted up. That moment, hold that in your heart. That is what church is supposed to be. That is what your schools and your communities, and yes, your families are supposed to be that. Helping one another to shine the brightest light and working together to change ourselves and the world. There is no fight we cannot win together. Just you and I defying gravity. I have gotten to know so many wonderful people here, and I will be rooting you on from afar. I will be hoping all your stories culminate and that your church thrives. I know you have really hard work to do. That's what underdogs do. They keep working at it. They keep doing it in community. So remember, everybody deserves the chance to fly. I hope you're happy in the end. I hope you're happy, my friends.
has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leap. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. I'm through accepting limits, 'cause someone says they're so. Some things I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost. I'd sooner buy defying gravity. Kiss me goodbye, I'm defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. Unlimited, my future is unlimited, and I just had a vision, almost like a prophecy. I know it sounds truly crazy and true, the vision's hazy, but I swear someday I'll be up in the sky, defying gravity, flying so high, defying gravity, they'll never pull me down. So if you can't find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I am defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying gravity, and soon I'll match them in renown. And nobody in all of us, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me down.
Thank you. My goodness. Thank you, singers. Thank you, Ruben. Thanks to everyone who contributed to the service today. Thank you, Reverend Denise, for all your service. The staff, obviously, the volunteers, ushers, greeters. We need you all. We need to work together to make everything happen here and to live our values. The picnic is happening after this, We do have volunteers kind of help get things out there, but I request a little extra help when we clean up, put the tables away and chairs away, and that usually is no problem at all. So thank you for a wonderful service. Thank you for coming. Thank you those, and this is new to me, to the digital crowd. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. You know, things like this are made on relationship, and thank you all for coming and showing your relationship. And Ruben, thank you for all the relationships you made to bring us this incredible service. I have goosebumps. It's a dream come true, so thank you. Thank you for all. Thank you for all of these 17 months. I've gone from part-time pastoral care minister to part-time minister working full-time to your co-minister, your senior minister, all in this short time. And you have gone from lockdown to huge tragedies. You lost your longtime minister leaving, and then some more lockdown. It's been a lot. It's been so much that we have gone through in this time. You've seen the most successful stewardship campaign you've had in years. You have used lots of pastoral care, and please keep doing that. And you have started to create a new way in this new world. Thank you. Thank you. I will never, ever forget you. May you continue to serve one another wisely, with compassion, with an openness to change, with a full-hearted faith. I hope you rise up, you make your love visible in the world, dismantle all those oppressions. I know it's hard. You have each other. We need you desperately to take them apart and build something else. And now we will begin a path down separate roads, but I trust we'll probably see each other again at future crossings, conferences, and stuff. Go to those. Go to those. They help inspire you. And I look forward to hearing about your adventures from afar and witnessing what you will all become together. Our picnic today is my last time serving as your minister, and then I get to pick up the role of former minister and current cheerleader from afar. The minister's pictures are back up on the wall. Yay. Remember all your history, all of it. So, my friends have a few words to help me close the day. Let's start with Ryan.
You have to be carefully taught to hate and fear.
Why am I the only one who sees you're beautiful?
Sorry. She's imperfect, but she's kind. A little bit of glitter in the gray, something precious you don't simply give away.
Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts, close my eyes, and leap.
I lost the cover. Here it is. Wait. Come back here. It's time to try defying gravity. Stop waiting for permission to be you. We should do it again.